Yeah, everyone, this is Thermite, and this is Weekly Shonen Jump for the week of September 27th, 2020. On the cover, we've got Yuji, I believe, from Jujutsu Kaisen. Hmm. Not super into it, honestly. Like, it's him, and I assume him when he's possessed by something. It looks like a different form than, like, the one I saw, like, back in Chapter 2, Chapter 3, so probably a different form. But, I don't know, I guess I don't really care for covers, specifically, that are, like, the same character twice. Yeah, like, we had one once that was, like, two Luffys that was kind of eh. We had the one that was a manga Tanjiro and anime Tanjiro side by side, and that was also kind of eh. I think it really is just the idea of it being basically the same design twice. Like, it's too visually samey to me. Whereas, like, if it were something like, Hollow Ichigo and normal Ichigo, like, they have such distinct designs, I think that would be fine. That would give off more of the duality vibe. Because there are a lot of pieces of art I can think of with characters that have, like, evil sides or, like, super forms and stuff, where you see them side by side and it's fine. But I think it is just that there's the different, like, there are differences here, but I think they're almost too subtle. Like, they're not big enough for me to really go like, oh yeah, it's really cool to see the contrast between these two. Anyways, docket this week is pretty short. For the pre-recordeds, I did move our Blood Oath to the pre-recordeds because I don't really think anyone cares about our Blood Oath very much. And that then cuts down the live stream to a solid 4 series. Like, the 4 series I think most people who have watched my channel really want me to react to. If there's anything else, even then, like, if anything else in the big milieu of Jump gets good, like, I'm still following We Never Learn. When we get to Sensei Arc, gonna pull that up. If anything else gets good, like, I'm not really following most of the new Jump starts. I've been following a few of the comedy series, like A Gravity Boys, or, I haven't read War King in forever. I read a bit of Maku-chan recently. But yeah, like, for any of the more serious series, if they get really, really good, you can recommend them to me, and I might do, like, a quick catch-up on the channel and then toss them in here, but if not for that, I think I'll, leave it at here. I think this is a fine lineup for now. And if Jump, cycles through even more series, then that gives me more wiggle room to try all of them out. Yeah, anyways, long story short, let's do me and Roboco, then our Blood Oath, and then we will move on to the live stream. Starting off with me and Roboco, Chapter 11. Oh boy, did I not log in before I did these? Okay, I'll just have to refresh them. You may notice things look a bit different right now. I did change my monitor, so this is now being, like, the base monitor I'm now using is a oh, what is that called again? It's 4 times 720p, so like 1440p. And that does mean that before I used to not use the, like, extending thing because on my previous monitor at 1080p, it really didn't change anything. If anything, it made it actually smaller. But with this new technology now, I can click this and it'll become big. And now that I'm talking about it, I should probably check to see I'm using the right presets. Okay, good. If there's any wonkiness, I'm very sorry. I'll review this before I do the live stream, and hopefully it'll be better. Marco, a young mafioso in the Bublione crime family. He's got kind of an Andy vibe to him. Like, yeah. Like, the hair especially feels very Andy to me from Undead Unluck. The mangaka of me and Roboco is very good at coming up with quirks that are unique, but that they're stupid enough that I don't immediately go like, oh, that's so lame. Like, it's so forced, but at the same time, it's so weird that I have to accept it. It's just, yeah, it makes sense. It's fine. Part-time jobs and Roboco. Huh. It's interesting that Roboco is designed to look Japanese. Like, especially with her very curved nose, I really assumed that she was supposed to be more Western looking. Here's your large pizza pie and chicken nuggets combo. I mean, I guess, yeah, you can have, like, when I think of ordering a pizza and then a side, I usually think of, like, wings as opposed to nuggies. She's so strong. Oh, actually, do they not know about order maids outside of Japan? Because, like, the design is very obvious, and, like, everyone who has looked at Roboco has said, oh, she's an order maid. So it's actually very surprising. Like, this is the first character we found who has not thought that she was an order maid. I really thought this was going to be like a scene, like multiple skits within the same chapter, but it feels like we're mostly just doing the mafia thing, or mostly Roboco in front of a mafia guy. Oh, this reminds me so much of playing Spider-Man 2, the video game. At least tell me your name. Is that a coupon? I mean, I guess the writing over it, like, I guess she wrote over the coupon. Huh. Is she trying to buy Bondo a birthday present or something? I mean, we do know that, yeah, she does have to buy the tendies, and she does use makeup. It's like, that's actually pretty good continuity for a gag series. I guess this also implies that she doesn't have any other unknown expenses. Like, if the mangaka brings up something else after this that is a thing she pays for, it's gonna be an actual contradiction. Hmm? Oh no, what's this cursed new form? I love the idea that the propeller, like, I guess the head propellers are supposed to be a backup then. Like, this is probably how she's supposed to fly. It's just she doesn't. How is she so bad at this? Oh. Oh no, I really hope the gag here isn't she brings in the pizza and then goes, "Oh yeah, this also isn't it?" and then leaves while he dies. Hmm. Okay, and yeah, he recognizes that she's an order maid. So yeah, I guess it has to be a Japan-only thing. Oh, he's paying for it. I mean, it's still the wrong person, but hey, she did it. Hmm. Are you a Karen? Oh, that's actually such a good pun. Like, punning a Karen with Karen. I can't believe that worked out so well. I need to know how this was in Japanese, because I could imagine that Karen as an English word has, like, made it into the Japanese, like, slang. If not, then this is insanely good coincidence.
Karen has that like hard consonant sounds that Japanese people find very funny in English.
Yeah.
I could definitely see it being picked up.
Yeah.
You think the Japanese use boomer yet?
Oh, I don't think they've got boomer yet. Sure you are. Karens are always concerned. We'll send you burnt crusts for free. Boy, this seems like a really bad... Everything about this seems so bad. Roboco, where are you working? Ah, okay, so she did save him. Thank God. Okay, this was actually really good. I actually really appreciate that the punchline is basically just the two panels. That we get the combo of, yes, though Roboco is extremely bad, she did also advertise Damios across the entire planet, so now they're going to have way more business. And then on top of that, like, that's such a good final gag of just, oh, I guess the pizza didn't come. It's so not a gag manga. Like, the way this chapter is set up, like, the reason why I thought the entire chapter is going to be this mafia guy in Roboco was specifically because that is more what I think a gag manga would do. Like, it feels like a skit, but then no, it actually is the whole 19 pages. Whereas this was so fun, and so varied, and so just goofy. And, like, we only had two main settings. Like, we had the mafia guy, and then we had the gag on, like, on top of the mountain. But despite that, like, these three panels did a really good job of getting across the, yeah, she's going everywhere, she's advertising everywhere. I don't want to say this in a way that sounds extremely insulting, but it feels insulting in my brain. But Roboco is so good at being comedy that it does not feel like a Japanese gag manga. Like, it feels more like a, I guess, like, I can't think of a series that is not like a gag comedy, but that is a comedy that isn't like a rom-com. I guess what I'm envisioning is like the more comedy-focused rom-coms I've read that will do like a chapter that is purely a gag chapter. Like, there's something so weirdly fresh about this. So I guess all I have to say is good chapter of Roboco. Also, I really thought the Boob Leone crime family was gonna go somewhere because that's such a forced pun. But yeah, I guess we're just leaving it there. I mean, to be fair, they could come back again. Also, there's a weird connection between Catherine's burned meat pie and the fact that if you order from Domino's, they'll just give you burned pizza crusts if you want them. There's something there. But that is me and Roboco. The ranking, of course, is the boring, good, but also bad ranking of I didn't rank anything else yet. We'll see how it goes. Next, let us move on to Our Blood Oath, Chapter 3, Overflowing Love. So, first chapter was, you know, it was an intro chapter. Chapter 2 made me a little more hopeful. Like, it was focused more on the brothers and then that random kid who was there mostly to teach you a lesson. So I'm interested to see what goes on here. Like, are we gonna do more like character of the week stuff? Okay, so it's Nishiyama senpai and Hizuki senpai. So I wonder if Nishiyama knows like the whole vampire thing. Okay, so we're actually focusing on her. I mean, yeah, I can see why anyone would have a crush on him. Like, he does have this pure, genuine niceness to him. Like, it's a little bland, but at the same time, I mean, you can't go wrong with being just, purely good. Hmm. Oh no, the thoughts. Ah. I actually do like Nishiyama quite a bit. Like, I do think where we're going for this isn't I assumed he was going to be more of a cocky character, and this feels a little cocky, but I do think he is doing this as an act. Like, I do think he knows that, like, Shin is uncomfortable here, and this is a way to then take some of the heat off of him. Also, I think I called him you before. I meant Ko. Oh no, too dangerous. Hmm. Ah. And this is a good reason to then have the brothers be in danger. Like, chapter 2 is a little forced, but this makes sense as they're not even looking for a fight. It's just coming to them through no fault of their own. And honestly, through no fault of her either. Like, she is jealous of of Ko, but I think that's completely understandable to be, to have that irrational feeling, especially if you're a kid. Like, if you are a teenager, it makes absolute sense to have all sorts of weird irrational feelings towards someone that you're attracted to. Oh, huh. Okay. See, I thought the bandage was supposed to be, Ko kicking him in the head, and then it was a bit of a goof, but no. So these are serious bandages. Something did happen. I didn't see who it was, but I think it was a girl. Okay, so it is her. Hmm. Huh. I hear he has a girlfriend in another school, and when school is over, he goes to visit her. So we know that's wrong. Like, we do know, or I guess we don't know it 100%, but it's 99% certain that the reason he goes home early is because he needs to take care of his brother. So, is this bait that they laid in order to draw her out? Hmm. I do really like the way she's drawn. Like, the art style in Our Blood Oath isn't my favorite. Like, just the way it is. It feels meh to me a lot of the time, but it does have cool moments. The monsters are pretty strong, and I do think, like, I think this mangaka is very good at drawing hair in a way that doesn't look the same every time, but also doesn't look, like, disgustingly cluttered for the sake of it being super textured. Like, it is very easy to go from this to even more textured and, like, to even more individual hairs, and at that point it gets really gross. Even this, I think, is kind of pushing the limit every once in a while. Like, this, yeah, I'd say this is pushing the limits, but it's not quite on that other side of I hate it. Hmm. This chapter really is the personification of Notice Me Senpai. Hmm. Ah, okay, those wings look pretty dope. Ah, she's not expecting to get 2-aid. Now, is it as simple as that? I guess so, yeah. Because we've only ever seen the blood stars, like, when the creature dies. I do think this is actually, I'll wait until the chapter is over, but I do think it is very distinctive that most of the other yokai series running in Jump do focus a lot more on the fights, whereas so far Blood Oath has kept the fights to a minimum. Like, they've been more functional than not. So he is a traitor. Definitely did not expect it. But okay, so interestingly, like, as I've said many, many times, to the point in which most people, I assume, are sick and tired of it, first chapter is like a microcosm of the whole series. Chapter 2 is usually the, like, let's expound on this a bit, let's explore the world a bit, and then chapter 3 is, let's start the first arc. And this is definitely a start the first arc chapter. Like, this is very, like, you thought most of this could have been self-contained, but we've got a little hint here. There's someone else working in the shadows.
You need to create a clip of that, of you saying that, so that way you can just insert it when you just say refer to clip, and then just play the clip of you explaining the 3 chapters.
It would make sense on my road to becoming fully automated if I do just automate away all of the things I say over and over again.
Yeah. Just have a big poster behind you right here, and just point to refer to point 6.
But yeah, the thing I find most fascinating about the series is chapter 2. The fact that chapter 2, rather than focusing on, like, a lot of lore stuff, like, we saw their house, but apart from that, it was extremely about Ko, and it was extremely about the way he views his brother, and just the concept of brotherhood. And then this chapter was very focused on the emotions of a victim. Like, it was all about her and, like, why it is that she ended up being the one possessed, and then the fact that, the vampire was pushing her out of control. And even if the brothers see it as, the vampire's in control, from her perspective, she was in control the whole time. Like, she doesn't remember what she did as a vampire. But like, it still seems like if the vampires do have intelligence, it seems like they kind of just they're sort of a copy of the person they're possessing. Like, the vampire didn't seem to have any ulterior motives. It wasn't doing it because it wanted, like, special vampire energy or because it wanted malice. It seems like it was acting on her desires, just to an extreme. So if our blood oaths thing is being more emotional and focusing more on the characters, even if they are characters of the week, then it would definitely be more up my alley than any other like series currently running. I guess I will give it a chapter 4. Like, I am way more into it than any of the other series that have debuted thus far. Like, in this chunk of series that have been debuting. But I don't think anyone really cares about it enough for it to be in the live stream, so I'll keep it in the pre-recordeds for now. And I mean, it's still very tentative. If this first arc isn't very good, I'm dropping it, but this is the first time in quite a while that the series has managed to stick around past chapter 3. Yeah, like, uh I can't think of another series actually in which, like, Chainsaw Man and Undead Unluck were both series where I just, there was no question about it. It wasn't I've read 3 chapters, now what do I do? I just kept on going. They were instant classics. Same with Dr. Stone, honestly. My hero started before I started the channel. So, this is the first time I've really had a tentative, like, it's not, it is no Undead Unluck, but it is still interesting enough that I do want to see what happens next. I mean, I guess me and Roboco is also similar, but it's different in that it's more of being a comedy feels like cheating. But no. I do have to take that back then. Me and Roboco is a series where I also paused at chapter 3 and wondered if I wanted to keep on going, but even then, yeah, I don't think I deliberated on me and Roboco as much as I am deliberating on our Blood Oath. But I have a short wealth of time, so yeah, I'll let it ride for a little while. That said, it was no me and Roboco in terms of ratings, so it goes below it. Those are the pre-recordeds. Stick around for the live stream coming up right now. Yeah, everyone, this is Thermite, and this is the live stream portion of things. So, no Our Blood Oath on the live stream this week because it seemed like chat was pretty lukewarm to it before, so I slipped it into the pre-recordeds. If people start liking it, I'll put it back in here. But I think right now it's probably fine to keep it to the the slimmest possible setting. Like, these 4 series are series that everyone seems to like, and I highly doubt any of them are going to end anytime very soon. As always, of course, if new things get added, like, if we get more jump starts and stuff, I'll definitely debut them here. We'll test them out for a little bit. But honestly, I'm actually kind of happy about this. When I first started doing these reactions, I wanted to have I want to read absolutely everything in Jump. And as of right now, I have tested almost every single series in Jump. And I have decided, it doesn't make sense to read all of them, especially not live. The only downside of this, of course, is that if I don't vamp for time at the very start of these, I could just, blast through all of them without anyone having the chance to join. But it seems like most of the regulars have shown up now. As I predicted, poor Pep, he's gonna have to just contribute to my views on YouTube like a pleb. Anyways, speaking of plebs, we have Undead Unluck, number 33. Unluck on our side. By the way, you may have noticed, and let me know if this gets too wonky, but I recently changed my entire monitor. As a result, Discord and my recording software are both downscaling it to 720p just so it doesn't, get all stuttery and bad. But it does mean that instead of just having the jump thing like this, the way I usually would without expanding it, like on my previous monitor, expanding the jump pages actually made them smaller. But now I actually can expand them and it's fine. I did test this, by the way, to make sure that, it's not super weird. Like, the entire page should be uncut, but we'll see how it looks like on YouTube. Anyways, so, I mean, it is the duality of man. Pretty simple cover, not a super spicy cover. And Unluck on our side, I think, is a very obvious sentiment. Like, right now, Like, the randomness of Unluck is really the most important thing in this fight. Because, like, every other ability can be accounted for, except for the power of a Kamikaze Unluck attack. Plus, like, they are doing this within, I want to say under, uh, like, within their home base, where they have, like, artifacts, and they have Uma that are all locked up and stuff. So, what, a burst of Unluck could just be, like, a big meteor or something, but it could also be, like, one of the many, many Uma they've captured breaking out suddenly and then attacking. I think the split there would be a little... It depends on what this cover does, or what this chapter does. If this chapter, like, talks about Victor at all, then I think it would be really weird if he's not splits. But if he is... Yeah, like, I feel like that's... It would be a weird detail to add in. Like, in the same way that if you do, like, a big comic book cover with with, like, the two sides of Wolverine, like, his true self and his brainwashed self, and then you also have Spider-Man on the cover. Like, you could have a split of Peter Parker and Spider-Man, or you could have, like, a Venom symbiote, normal Spider-Man split, but if that's not part of the theme that you're actually tackling in that issue, it just feels too fluffy. It has been a while since we've had just a real doozy out of nowhere. Right. I didn't even think about that. I was thinking of it as... Yeah, I wasn't really considering that she has that ability that stops you from landing direct hits anyways. Did you see the image I sent you? I don't think I did, no. I didn't get any DMs. Oh, in voice chats. Let me just open that up for everyone. Oh, that's actually really cool. It's so weird to look at something like this where it is a play on a kanji, but it's not like a super boxy or super highly detailed kanji, so it looks good to me. I feel like usually if I see art that incorporates kanji in it, it feels very blatant and obvious. But yeah, my gosh, Pep, 10 out of 10. That's real good. Okay, so Nico, I want you to focus on treating Ishina top, sure. Oh, I guess they might also have, like, just a containment thing here. Like, should a Uma attack the round table, they may have, like, countermeasures in place anyways. Is his name Miko? I mean, I remember this clone of Nico here, or maybe his son? But I think that's the first time we've gotten his name. Is that the first time we've gotten Shen's name as well? Or no, Phil's. Sorry, I know who Shen is. We had multiple arcs with Shen, I know who he is. I was looking at the child, and then looking at the first name written here, which was Shen. No, I feel like if we'd gotten Phil's name before, I definitely would have thought of it before. It has, what could Phil's ability be? I mean, the one that immediately comes to mind is unfill or unfillable, but that's too on the nose. Like, even, Top has unstoppable. And I mean, it could be something in another language as well. Okay, fair point, sure. And Tatiana is for you. I mean, I'm a little worried about this stance. Like, I do think this is the most emotionally healthy thing for Tatiana. To not make her confront, Billy's evil right now. To let her believe that he is a good person. And I mean, it's possible that they're brainwashing him or something. There is that slight possibility. But at the same time, this does open up the possibility of him saying something like, Tatiana, please help, and then she leaps into action without even thinking. I really do like her relationship to Fuko, though. Like, they have a great sister-mance. Oh, I could see a very dark, like, moment where Billy stabs her, and it's a parallel to when he gives her the long cake. But I don't want that to happen. I definitely do not want her to be the Momo in the situation. Now, the question is also, are they just kind of chilling here? Because they have the table, Burn is here. I'm surprised he's not, like, digging or anything. Like, they do have a open moment. So, it does strike me as strange that they're kind of just standing here for a little bit. Homie, I don't know if you're taking this in a lewd manner or in a he's gonna shoot her in the mouth manner. I mean, I could see them going either way, and I think that says a lot about my own personality. Okay, and so this isn't a situation where, like, they've known each other for a long, or, like, they've communicated back and forth for a long time. Like, Billy has been extremely undercover. Latla and I will cooperate with you, but let me make something clear first. Killing God isn't our final objective. We want what comes next. We're here because you said you'd give us that. And again, talking about fairness. Oh, okay. So what they're talking about here is getting the giant Uma freeze storage cooling devices, as in the free storage cooling devices that they use to freeze giant Uma in place. I initially read that as Giant Uma Freeze, as if, the title of this Uma was Giant Uma Freeze. And they're setting up that, yeah, if they use it for more than 10 minutes, the other Uma will wake up. Like, I'm definitely betting on the idea that, I mean, there could also be multiple bursts of unluck in this fight, but I'm going to say right now, one of them is definitely going to forcibly awaken one of the many, many Uma that they've already captured. Now, I don't agree with you, homie, but I can't say that I can't say that doesn't feel right. If you call the shot and you make it, big, big, big props to you. Is he grabbing? Oh yeah, he's okay. So he's still trying to pull off Ishin's helmets. From where Atop's hand was, I thought he was like grabbing at his face, like he was trying to pull off his entire head. Okay, our goal is to make this look like a capture while we gather up sources. So I assume then he means sources of, danger for Unluck to then tap into. Yeah, that does say something about Ishin. Like perhaps that their identity is something they desperately, desperately don't want anyone to see. Even like the other members of the, I can never remember. For some reason, the term "under" has completely subsumed the identity of the main group of characters in my brain. Oh no, I'm having a really big bad brain moment. My brain is subsumed with Under and Uncle, neither of which are our group of main characters. I mean, that is the big question. What exactly, like, what is the defining thing that separates Under from the... Oh, the Union! That's what I was thinking of. Boy, I forgot their name for a solid minute there. Longer, honestly. But anyways, like, it can't just be that Under is more brutal than the Union. To be fair, we don't really know what the Union wants to do after killing God. We know that they want us, they don't want Ragnarok to happen. They want God dead. They don't really seem to have any plans for the future apart from, destroying the various rules. Like that, even then, I don't know if Juiz has ever directly said they want to get rid of all the Uma and all the rules. That is something that I just kind of assumed was the end goal of the series. Oh, so you've come undeterred, have you? I mean, I know that is also just a word people can use, but it feels like this is setting up a flashback 50 chapters later where we learn that Billy was not in fact talking to Undead and Unluck, but what he meant was, so you've come undeterred, have you? Like he's talking to someone in the background. Yeah, that's interesting. Like, what is the range limit then? Like, if Billy wanted to, could he have a truck just full of unaffiliated negators that he has like a kilometer away, and then could he then draw their negator abilities out and into his own body without putting them at risk? I mean, the way he phrased it last time did imply that he was taking them permanently. Like it does still seem to be that he can only use one at a time. But I'm definitely on the... Like, as insane as this makes the power scale, my current theory is that he has them forever, always now. Or, like, he can cycle through them now whenever he wants. But okay, simple enough. So, Andy manages to both stop the injustice by allowing himself to be decapitated, and now, because he's smashing his head into Fuko's, he'll now charge himself up with Unluck energy, and then I imagine they'll just pitch his head right into Burn. Aw, got a smooch in too! Oh boy, what is this going to be? So it looks like this area is shorting out. And here's something else for good measure. Okay, so there goes the colds. Actually, yeah, for a minute there I was like, is this the Unluck? But there's no way, right? Like, they're clearly, like, intentionally doing this. So it has to be this unbreakable pile cannon that is going to presumably blast right through Burn's core. Is another thing that, just the Union's team is setting this up, but then on top of that, we're getting a big Unluck burst. God damn. It's so satisfying. What does what say? Over here it says unbreakable pile cannon. This is... I mean, I assume this just says unbreakable. But okay. So, yeah. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't misinterpreting this. So, the electromagnetic cables are misfiring over here, which is a side effect of the, the cold wind blowing, but that's also due to the Unluck. Then the cold air is, has been planned, that's not the Unluck, and then the pile cannon is also planned, not the Unluck. So we are still waiting for the big Unluck burst next chapter. Is it? Because it seems extremely premeditated. I guess so. Okay. I guess, yeah. So, like, they did intentionally release this, but the unluck was specifically making sure that it would smash through Burn and into Andy. Hmm. What if you hit Unbreakable while also having Unbreakable? I mean, I imagine they must have tried this at some points. I think it would just be that the two Unbreakable things hit each other and then the energy kind of just blasts out of them. Like, neither of them are hurt, neither of them, like, even vibrate from the impacts. It is just, like, the excess energy gets vented. Is it? Wait a minute. Where's the sensor bar? Tip the pile driver. Wait, this tip? Okay. I was looking all the way over here, but I forgot that, yeah, his body would, yeah, he was, he's being penetrated from here. Such a tiny detail, I love it. I mean, the true power of the sensor bar, the reason why it is so funny is that it is so massive. And that, like, there are so many situations where if the sensor bar was not there, it still wouldn't really be noticeable that Andy is, that Andy's junk is hanging out. The sensor bar makes it so much more eye-drawing and powerful. I mean, it would be an absolute crime if Uncensored did not show up in the series at some points. Or maybe Uncensored will be a volume extra. I could definitely see that as an omake or something. I also do think this mangaka is the kind of person where I do trust them to have, like, if Undead Unluck were to have filler in the anime, I do think that this is the mangaka who would say, hey, studio, here's an idea that I'm not going to use in the manga. It's not canon, but feel free to just go nuts with it. Have we not had a popularity poll yet? Huh. Oh. I mean, yeah, Undead Luck is not even a year old, so I imagine, yeah, it makes sense there wouldn't be a popularity poll. But it's such a, like, to me, in my brain, it is such a big series already that the idea of it not already having a popularity poll is insane. Yeah, I guess especially with the state of Jump right now, they probably don't want to be handing out popularity polls and other, like, audience interacty things very quickly. Like, we had that thing with A Gravity Boys and a couple of other recent series that was a, like, hey, here's just a volume of a bunch of new Jump things, check this out, and here's a bit of merchandise for all of them. But it does seem like Jump is being a little more hesitant to say this is the next big thing, because they're so willing to just throw things away now. Anyways, that is Undead Unluck. It was a very good chapter. I mean, I don't think it's very wild for me to reveal that, yeah, it is at the very top. We've got right now me, Undead Unluck, me and Roboco, and then our Blood Oath. That is the order. Uncancelled. Okay, well, we have now dipped into the time in every Undead Unluck reaction where we just start saying unwords, and that means that it is time to stop and go into the next series, which is Chainsaw Man, Chapter 86, Date Chainsaw. Didn't quite work out, but that's fine. I mean, there's no way this is more Chainsaw Man than last week. Last week was peak. This is the most flavor of Chainsaw Man. Instantly homie, before I forget, I do want to say that I've picked up, like, privately, I've picked up Spy X Family again, and I had dropped it during the first big school arc, and I had said to myself, I can't keep reading this, I hate the school, this is going to be the entire series, so I'm just gonna stop now while I still like it. And that was the last school arc chapter for, like, an entire arc, and then they immediately went into another big spy thing outside of school, so I do have a bit of that cursed energy in which I say, I'm going to give this thing a chance. I'm going to, be very lenient with it. And then I'll hit my breaking point and then I'll stop it. And then right when I do that, that is actually the point at which I should have kept on going. Okay, so Kovani is suffering. Everyone else is terrified. Chainsaw Man is actually quite patient. I should make this full screen. Now that counts, Kovani. I mean, you are giving him a hamburger, but it's a little grungy. Oh, it's even, like, sliding apart. I mean, is this the face of satisfaction? I can't tell. I don't know what the tongue out is supposed to convey. I mean, we've seen Denji with his tongue out before, and that's usually a sign of he doesn't like it. Oh no. Oh, is this the meaning of Chainsaw Date? Ah. I can't believe this is the ship that gets confirmed. I mean, it's the only ship that's possible now, but still. Is this winning? Is this what it feels like to win the Denji Bowl? Also, I feel like this image, I can't stop looking at this image. It feels like a commentary on waifu culture. Like, this is the grungy, disgusting guy who goes to the chans and all he wants is a girl that he can pick up with his scarf. I don't really have a lot on this one, but I'll get back to it. It's gonna be good. Oh, good points. Also, why did Denji do this? Or, sorry, I keep on saying Denji after, multiple chapters of, repeatedly stating this is not Denji, this is Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man is different. It seems like Chainsaw Man has Pochita's emotions, so if anything, he's more Pochita than Denji. Yeah. This feels like a real, that, steal your waifu and then put her on a date and then make her like it situation. Oh boy, this poor sad sack. This ain't gonna turn out well. Okay, I guess that's it. I guess it just did not turn out well. Japan's favorite dance machine, Dance Dance Mushroom. Thanks for the update on your life, homie. Oh boy. Oh, this is a fantastic page. I guess this is less waifu culture and more compensated dating. Or like going to one of those maid cafes where you can pay the maid to leave the cafe with you and like go on a date. It's got that energy to it. It's got that energy if the maid also was, if the maid was showing the way she truly feels on her outside as well as on her inside. Yeah, it does seem like it's not that Chainsaw Man's really out of it to me. It seems like he has, like, there are things he clearly wants, but he can't, like, put together how to get them. Like, he went to a place to get a hamburger, but he didn't have the higher order thought processing to be able to go, like, this is gonna freak him out. He just sat down and waited for burger and then ate burger. I mean, also, we have seen Kovani, like, move around. We know she's insanely light on her feet. Like, she's got extremely powerful legwork. So it makes a lot of sense that even if she's never done this before, if what she's focusing on is, hitting the buttons on the ground while looking at the screen to make sure she's hitting them at the right time, like, yeah, I can see why she would be very good at it. I mean, this probably looks extremely cursed. But in terms of, like, raw physical touching the things at the right time, yeah, makes sense. Huh, I guess that completed his desire for a date. Yeah, he's just not here anymore. Also, presumably, Kovani is going to be here forever? Maybe not forever, but at least for a few hours. She doesn't strike me as the kind of person who would look behind her to make sure that Chainsaw's still there. I mean, Rhonda, she doesn't need... I feel like carrying a burger is less a show of legwork and more a show of, like, full body coordination. I mean, granted, we did see her with a knife attack someone before, but again, we don't know that she wasn't tripping around and being really bad at it. That's so much change. Also, to be fair, I've never played one of these step machines. Is there... I guess you do have to pay per song, right? I was thinking there could be a situation where, the better you play, the longer you get to play without needing to put in more money, but knowing how, knowing the culture of step machines in Japan and also just worldwide, that would be a very bad thing to do. Like, people who like to play these games are very, very good at them. You would lose a ton of money if you did that. Also, to be fair, yeah, like, Kobani is... Like, this is a situation where she is more or less self-directed. Like, she's being directed by the machine, but it's also very simple. Like, she has very clear orders that she can carry out. Whereas in the burger joint, like, she was being emotionally bullied, she was in a very fragile state. Like, there was a lot more going on that I think really, caused her to lose her composure. Okay, so she's not dead. Also, I guess that does confirm that, like, I was thinking maybe Chainsaw Man was called away by someone else screaming for help, but no. It does seem like he is just satisfied with what he did with Kovani as a date. Okay, come out, everyone. The only thing I can think of is that, her various angel-named minions are still alive, which would mean the power would still be alive. That'd be a good. I mean, honestly, I don't dislike any of her previous minions, so what part of this could be pain? There isn't... someone here has an empty arm... What's that called again? Empty sleeve? So I guess that could actually be Aki, maybe. Or like Aki's puppeteered corpse or something. I mean, it's way too low detail for me to pick out anyone, but this does not seem like a silhouette I remember. Neither is this. Neither is that. That guy has, like, blonde hair. I sure hope this isn't her condensing all of the squads yet again to get the even more cream of the crop than previously stated. I mean, no, he's saying our first operation, so this also is not the team that was being assembled to fight the Gun Devil or anything. First, let's take its headwinds, right, to ask Makima on a date, for instance. And this does have this feeling of coming full circle to me. Like, Denji was originally motivated by wanting, wanting to grope Makima, wanting to have some sort of connection to Makima. And it seems then that, this group of people, even if they are kind of badasses in their own rights, they're also being strung along by this desire for Makima. Like, whether she implanted that in their heads or whether that is just her flexing her inherent, desirability. But yeah, so definitely not Aki then. Also, very androgynous person. Not sure if this is a guy or girl. Oh my god! Okay, so that's Reze. That's definitely Reze. Oh, this is, Katana Man, right? I just noticed what are these? I'm slapping my face. The sideburns. The very distinctive sideburns. But okay. Also, interesting that, Katana Man, for lack of a better name, says, Miss Makima saved our lives over and over again. And then Reze is definitely she definitely likes Makima now, which is not her stance before. I mean, I'm not saying that she had to have been straight beforehand, but she was definitely terrified of Makima, which is, like, that's what I mean by her sexuality has changed. She has gone from being horrified by the existence of Makima to being horny for her. And speaking of being horny, oh my god. So this is the Makima harem now. Also, because these three are, they are hybrids that we've known, that then means, well, it doesn't mean it, but the implication is then that these four are also hybrids. Interesting. None of them have a very obvious trigger, and actually, Reze doesn't have her collar anymore. Yeah, like her choker is being used to hide her pin. So it's interesting that she doesn't have the choker on. Alright, so now begins the true harem arc of Chainsaw Man. The question then actually is, what is Chainsaw Man fighting for now? Like, Denji's desire now would be, that he wants to be Makima's dog. Like, he wants to obey her. But that does not seem to be a thing that Chainsaw Man cares for at all. Otherwise, he wouldn't have immediately blitzed her. Like, they're all definitely brainwashed. And, because these three are saying things that are so out of character, like, from what we know of each of them, none of these statements feel in character for them. So that also means then that we can't really use the statements of these four to characterize them, or to characterize them outside of the way they are right now, like who they were in the past. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty easy guess to say then that this is also we've seen Chainsaw Man fight basically everything else, and the only things he's really had trouble with have been hybrids because they're also immortal. So it would make sense that if Makima wants to either put down Chainsaw Man, or if he I mean, she is a fangirl, so I imagine, what else could she want? I mean, maybe she wants to force Chainsaw Man to consume each of these hybrids, thus, erasing them from existence, and thus, depriving humanity of various tools that they could use to rebel against her. Right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was having a brain fart there. You're right. So this is, more of a genuine, outright, just beat him fight. Or rather, not just beat him, but make him believe that he is beneath Makima. Like, she's made Denji believe that, but she has not been able to make Chainsaw Man believe that. I mean, also, to be fair, I'm stunned that there are this many hybrids that we haven't been introduced to. Like, the idea that there have been as many, including Chainsaw Man, there are now 4 hybrids that we've been introduced to in the series, and 4 that are being introduced right now. I'm still kind of unclear about that. I was checking multiple translations after, right after that chapter, but I had heard there was some miscommunication about that, and I don't know what the official word is. I believe the official release phrased it as, the person needs to believe that they are below Makima, or is it the other way around? I know one translation basically flipped it around. It's either the victim has to believe that they are below Makima, or Makima just has to believe that they are below her. I mean, I imagine this fight's probably going to clarify what exactly is necessary. I mean, Kovni might just be dancing to this very day. Yeah, I mean, depending on how the series goes, I definitely don't like. It would be a bad idea for Kobani to end up under Makima's thumb or in league with devils again at all. Like, she should stay out of devil hunting. That would be the best thing for her. I do still want to see her around because she's a great character. I really like her. And I mean, there is a part of me that will be eternally curious as to what her contract is, since she's one of the only people to keep her contract a secret. But at the same time, I wouldn't be against Fujimoto just saying, you don't get to know. She's not a hunter anymore. She's out of the series. She has been dancing. She will not stop dancing, and we don't get to see her after this point, unless we see her from the point of view of characters walking down the street and she is still dancing. Is this a one chapter fight or a 2-page fight? Oh man. I mean, because they're immortal, I can't imagine this is going to be a 1-page fight. Like, even if I mean, Chainsaw Man presumably can, like, he might be the only thing who can put down these hybrids because he can eat them and thus erase what they are from existence. So, but even then, I think Fujimoto wouldn't just skim over that. I do think this is going to be a relatively long fight. I don't know if it's, like, I'm going to guess that Chainsaw Man will eat at least one of the hybrids we've seen. Not necessarily one of these four. It could legitimately be like, you know, Reize or Katana Man or something. Like, maybe not. Honestly, maybe Quan Chi. I could see Fujimoto bringing back Quan Chi, everyone's favorite, just to immediately have her be killed, and also her concept, you know, the concept of bows and arrows being just erased from existence. But yeah, I think at least one of them will be eaten just to prove that that is a thing that can happen. Like, that would raise the stakes quite a bit. But then I don't think the rest of them will be put down permanently. You know, if we're going to keep on going, I mean, Undead Unluck is more of a Bleach-like series, but if we're going to have Bleach vibes in Chainsaw Man, then I think the answer is they'll all attack Denji, or they'll all attack Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man will defend himself. He'll eat at least one of them, and then a new group will appear out of nowhere and take him to hell or to heaven. Or, I don't think I said this on the stream, but when I was talking to Zaku privately, I did conceive the idea of a Hell 2 that may have existed at some point. And then, you know, Hell 2 got erased, and that's why we don't talk about it. I mean, to be fair, Nova, we don't know what hybriding entails. Like, we especially don't know if you can forcibly make a hybrid. Whereas, like, presumably, like, a fiend is just a devil that is possessing a dead body. So it makes more sense for Makima to be able to beat down the Gun Devil and then, you know, compel the Gun Devil to obey her and then have it embody Aki. Whereas a hybrid, for instance, a hybrid might need to be more of a consensual thing from what we've seen with Denji and Pochita. Also, my theory would be that if Denji ate Hell Devil, then, like, when he eats a concept, it is rewritten, like, it is erased from existence. Makima does seem to be able to hold on to those concepts a little bit, but in general, reality is rewritten, so it just is not there anymore. It never happens. So in that case, I do think, like, the rules around devils would just be rewritten. So either devils go to one of the last remaining places, you know, other dimensions that exists, or they may, you know, this system maybe just be rewritten so that they reincarnate on Earth or something. Also, yeah, I do think that me saying Quan Chi is everyone's favorite, not Reize, is betraying my own bias. I do like Quan Chi a lot more than Reize. Like, I like Reize's art quite a bit, but in terms of just best girl, I would definitely put Quan Chi above her. Okay, yeah. I know other people have been saying it, but homie, I will use your comment as an opportunity to really glom onto it. I mean, if I did not know these three characters, I definitely would not be able to predict their abilities based on their designs. I mean, I do 100% believe they're all weapons. Like, that does seem to be the prevailing trait. Like, if you are a hybrid, like, you can only hybrid with something that is used by humanity. So, of things that would be used without, like, any overlap, like, submachine gun would not work, right? Like, that's just covered under Gun Devil, right? So what are other weapons? Whip is a very easy one. Flamethrower, I think, would actually be one that's, like, that might be going a little too far into outright weapons instead of just tools/weapons, but I feel like Flamethrower is a very, like, this guy who's smoking, he could be Flamethrower. I could see that. So, man who's smoking, Flamethrower. Person here, androgynous person, is Whip. Because having empty sleeves is like having sleeves that you could whip around. This man with one fringe is Hammer because he has a square-like head. And then the only person here who is not wearing a suit, interestingly enough, by the way, right? Yeah, like everyone else is wearing like at least formal wear. Like they're dressed like they are devil hunters, whereas he's the only one in actual like complete casual wear. I mean, he is wearing a blazer, so I mean, it's not completely casual, but still. Oh, what could he possibly be? I feel like Spear is too close to Arrow Devil, like just visually. I don't think that's a rule of the universe, but I do think that Fujimoto himself wouldn't want to have two devils that are so unbelievably similar, unless it was supposed to be like a very clear like parallel. Okay, I'm gonna go with computer. Like that's when I think of all the others, I am also thinking of relatively simple things. Like chainsaw is the most complicated tool we've seen thus far. Like arguably, grenade is around the same level of complexity as a chainsaw, but I think computer would be an interesting one. And like he gives me a very sort of like casual hacker at a net cafe vibe. But yeah, those are my choices. I'm locking them in. Feel free to call me out next week if any of them are absurdly wrong, or if any of them are absurdly right. And this is an alternate 1997 as well. So, like, who knows what Araki is doing at this point? Who knows what manga is like, actually? Have we ever seen manga in the world of Chainsaw Man? But yeah, like, I'm not thinking internet. I am thinking more, like, normal computer. I guess computer does not also fit the theme of tools that people would be afraid of. Like, hammers, I think people are afraid of. Flamethrowers, yeah. Like, maybe not day to day. I'm scared that a flamethrower is going to show up and burn my face off, but if I see someone with a flamethrower, I do get nervous, like a little bit. I know rationally they're not going to set me on fire, but it is that raw danger of it could happen. Scythe Devil is actually a really cool idea, because the scythe is something that rationally, again, like you shouldn't really be afraid of a scythe, but pop culture has made scythes so terrifying, and just our modern conception of the Grim Reaper is, very scythe based. Yeah, I think I'm gonna replace computer with scythe for this guy. It doesn't really correlate with his look at all, but I like it. Anyways, that is Chainsaw Man ranking. I think it's definitely above Undead Unluck. It's a classic song, you can sing along at home, but it is fundamentally very accurate. Like, this was a good Undead Unluck, but this Chainsaw Man, I don't think it was as Chainsaw Man as last week's Chainsaw Man, but it did have the hard combo of, like, just the date scene was hilarious and insane and buck wild, and then the ending of the chapter is something that completely works in universe. It doesn't contradict anything, but it's so, like, I can't believe we're doing this right now, what the heck? Alright, that's Chainsaw Man. Let's move on to Dr. Stone, Z equals 167, Different Strokes. Of course, referencing the popular sitcom Different Strokes. Now, first of all, I really did think this was going to be Tsukasa alone here, physically. The fact that everyone else also showed up is actually pretty shocking. But secondarily, it's more chill than I thought. Like, Xena really calmed down after that initial, oh boy, I'm about to be decapitated. Now, homie, what do you mean by fantasy Dr. Stone? I mean, to be fair, I would genuinely describe, what is it called again? It's something along the lines of high school geniuses are overpowered even in other worlds. Or is it high school, or geniuses have it easy even in other worlds? Something like that. Like, I would definitely describe that as being the closest I've gotten to fantasy Dr. Stone, what if someone read Dr. Stone and said, hey, it's not an isekai, what if I made it an isekai, and also, what if I made it bad? But if there is an actual more, like, if there's something that is closer to the actual fundamental title of fantasy Dr. Stone, I wouldn't be against it. Oh, and he was able to figure out the tunnel plan through just the tiniest, just the dust and dirt dripping off of Tsukasa's hands. Ah, the vibe of the cow, like not the cows, but just like general animals being able to talk but not talk. Like clearly what they're doing is giving off this sentiment. Like this is what they would be saying if they could talk. Like ever since the monkeys were introduced in Dr. Stone, I've always really loved that vibe. Like, it manages to characterize the animals and make them feel more fun without actually breaking suspension of disbelief, because, they're not talking. It just feels like it. Huh, Novo, I don't actually know. I mean, I know other people had problems with the stream where just sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. Big apologies if, Discord's streaming functionality doesn't really work for you. Try doing it on your phone, maybe. Like, if you have a smartphone that will run Discord. Though I guess, actually, that might be bad in terms of looking at the actual pages. Oh, so this allows us to fully confirm that, yes, they all have yellow dents. So, all's good. All they have to do is topple this entire empire that exists and that is very clearly cemented into this part of the world. Just that. Simple. Easy peasy. Not a problem. Barely an inconvenience. I can't believe how... I mean, maybe it'll be different in other parts of the world, but I do like the idea that throughout all of humanity, if you see a watermelon rolling on the ground, it is just fine. It is the ultimate spy strategy. It's like the cardboard box Metal Gear Solid. It's just a wild watermelon rolling around. It's fine. For what purpose? Why not just pretend to vomit? Why is he vomiting up the cards? I mean, it is a good goof, but why? I mean, I guess maybe it was a joke specifically because he knew he was being saved, and therefore he wanted to give Kohaku a very mild giggle or something. The scene has... I don't... This is gonna sound dumb, but this makes me feel something akin to that, famous meme image of the very small girl on the white couch with the big black eyes behind her, except it's more like if you were opening up the couch and inside there were muscular men. And then also, there's a muscular man on your side protecting you. It's like if Jotaro were opening up the couch and he saw a bunch of muscular men inside the couch, and then Star Platinum was there to protect him. Right? I'm not wrong.
What do you mean, right? I'm not looking at anything.
Oh yeah, whoops. Okay, I'm glad someone agrees with me. Like, I can't think of a different way to say this without mentioning a door, which doesn't work as an analogy because that is literally what is happening. It is open up door, scary people on their side of the door, but I've got a scary guy on my side of the door too.
Are you talking about like Jotaro opening up the coffin and there would be a strong scary dude in there instead of Nukesaku or whatever the fuck his name was?
Kind of, yeah.
It would be as if Dio was in the coffin.
Yeah, it's like if Dio and also Vanilla Ice were in the coffin, but then also Jotaro had Star Platinum out, so it wasn't scary. It's like that. Honestly, yeah, I could see an entire subgenre of pornography that is, like, you've got the I don't want to like make this heteronormative. So you have like the bottom and they're very weak looking, and then you have like a big strong scary top, but then you also have like a Star Platinum who protects the bottom.
This is why we needed Speedwagon in part 3 to explain to the audience that every time Jotaro was bringing out Star Platinum, it was because he was scared.
Ah. Part 3 would be so different if someone was there to say, by the way, Jotaro is feeling emotions right now.
Not emotions, just there to say Jotaro is scared. Every time he brings a Star Platinum, it's just Speedwagon going, oh, he must be very scared right now. He had to bring out his big strong man to protect him.
Oh my, I mean, boy. Okay, yeah, that is supposed to be a transition. Yeah, like we're transitioning from the flashback to here. But because of the way this was shaded, and you guys might not agree with me on this, it looks like it's made out of wood, like the panel does, of the manga. Like, I thought this was supposed to be like a 3D effect of the spear, like, punching out from the side of the page, and it was going to attack the door or something. Anyways, I think I've gotten to the part of the stream where no one can relate to me, so let's back right up. Let's go back to the thing everyone came here for, which is, Dr. Stone. Okay. I mean, Dr. Stone does work partially on cartoon physics, but I'm not sure how down I am for the let's set off a bomb and then that'll knock us forward tactic.
Forward through time?
You send one group backward in time, you send the other group forward in time. I mean, you don't have to have someone... I guess that is a problem, right? You need someone physically there to make sure it goes off, to make sure someone doesn't stop it, but then they're next to a bomb. Okay. I can't believe this is working. Also, I mean, clearly, it's not a good time. So, at the very least, we are fully acknowledging that, yes, this is a terrifying concept. You can't just essentially be on a... God, this is so insane! I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind over this concept. Like, it's not something where I'm like, oh, they're definitely gonna die as a result of this, but it's so buck wild of an idea. And to be fair, this is a Chrome original, so I get why they wouldn't have, someone like Senku who would pop in and say, by the way, this is insane. You're gonna destroy your eardrums doing this. You might die. I'm not sure how the cave-in happened on the side they were traveling to. I mean, obviously, I get how the cave-in could have happened on the other side, because they set off a bomb. But, Oh, Hasbro's bringing back Beast Wars. Okay, sorry about that. But yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like, you can't just shake the tunnel without making the entire tunnel unstable. Like, you aren't just destabilizing a tiny part of the tunnel. It's honestly more surprising that it didn't just cause a full cave-in that also, collapsed the area around them as well. Okay, yeah, fair points. First team to the middle wins. And of course, I do appreciate that Chrome is also not just waiting there to be rescued. Like, he's gonna try and dig him out himself. Either way, construct an entire tunnel and enact a cable car escape plan in the stone world. Yes, it's truly elegant. So he's gonna try and convince him to dig over to, to Xeno's kingdom. I see. The brain power is increasing, and as the brain power increases, so does his forehead. I wouldn't be against a Part 4-esque situation where if Dr. Xeno ends up on Senku's side, his head also deflates. Like, his forehead becomes smaller because he doesn't have to use as much of his brain anymore. Now, I'm actually very interested to see how Chrome fights against him, because Chrome is not someone who cares for, submitting to an oppressor. Like, he's fine with Senku, who is, in a way, an oppressor, because Senku is also someone he trusts. Like, he trusts Senku's science and the fact that he's done so many good things for Ishigami Village. But, like, Chrome also strikes me as someone who will, he won't fight back unless he has absolute conviction, and I don't know quite what he would say in this situation. Like, are we going for more of a, I don't like the way you use science, or is it going to be more of a, I think your way of thinking is inherently wrong? Like, the thing I like the least about Dr. Xeno is, his philosophy on the world. I think it's very childish and very bleh. Like, it's the classic, haha, I, a 16-year-old, know so much better than everyone else, even though he is an adult who knows, he is extremely smart, but he has that unwarranted belief that he is the most important person in the world. In the 21st century, ethics, morals, politics, those idiots stood by such worthless concepts and prevented humanity from truly progressing. It's interesting that in his mind, he is being puppeteered by the ignorant masses, but at the same time, he also thinks of his, claws as being so much longer for some reason. That could just be a weird Boichi special, but it also gives me sort of, an Edward Scissorhands sort of vibe. Especially with the bolts in his arms along with the finger thingies. This is his actual OC design. This is what he would give people on his ref sheets. And then the way he looks right now is the way one artist, in this case Boichi, represents that OC. Also good point that he wants to be the puppeteer. I do think, we haven't seen this yet, right? Have we seen an image of him with his claws, and then his claws are his claws turn into strings and they're puppeteering other people? Because I can definitely see a shot where, we have this image, and then you pan downwards, and you see that he's doing the same thing to his new kingdom. Right. And, I mean, yeah, Chrome knows. He's been next to Magma. He knows the idea of people who will throw away science in order to make, to rule by might. But at the same time, what is he going to say? I haven't looked over. I can obviously see, one or two big panels out of the corner of my eye. So I'm very excited. To be honest, I don't understand why. Not even a little. I don't get it, but different strokes, That doesn't make them fools. I ain't so high and mighty to judge people on what they love. Oh, and this isn't two panels like I thought it was. It is just a big ol' shot of Chrome. Oh, that's gorgeous. And yeah, I think that fits him. The difference between Chrome and Xeno is that Chrome doesn't look down on people who, he doesn't look down on people who don't understand the majesty of science. He would prefer to just focus on, becoming better as a scientist, and less on pushing down on people who are below him, who... I mean, I guess that's the difference. He doesn't want to puppeteer people. He doesn't want to oppress them. He just thinks, yeah, whatever. I want to do my thing if you do yours. And I think that makes a lot of sense considering the way he grew up. Like, the fact that in his village, his science was a hobby. Like, he wasn't really contributing very much until Senku showed up. But yeah, the village still helped, and like the village still allowed him to do all of his science stuff. All right. Oh, they touch tips. Now the big question is, did this like the way this is shot? It does seem like they did it accidentally. Like they were both digging at the same spot, and then without knowing it, they touched tips. But that's so true. I mean, also, so much of the area around them has been removed already. What is the scenario? I'm willing to accept it. I mean, this is high shonen. Hmm. They have one hostage, but it is the most important hostage. I mean, granted, Stanley also has the yeah, like there's an imbalance there. The big question then is, would Zeno tell Stanley, like, hey, I don't care about me, go on without me? I do think, like, most of the Kingdom of Science would be willing to put, the kingdom above themselves, whereas Zeno very clearly wants to put himself above the kingdom. And because, like, I mean, Stanley is his best friend, there's a non-zero chance of Stanley just immediately folding because they have Zeno, because he desperately doesn't want Zeno to be hurt. But at the same time, like, considering their ethos, I could see a situation where Stanley takes a shot at Zeno, and they have to contend with this idea of, yeah, for the greater good, even if our friendship is important, dominating humanity is more important. I don't have a lot of faith in that, honestly. Like, as I'm saying it, it feels so forced. They're not going to do that. But yeah, like, even Senku's dad, like, I don't really want more of him pre-stoning because we got enough. Like, not even counting the Byakuya spin-off, like, in the main series, we have everything I really care for with him. Whereas Zeno and Stanley have this energy to them that I really like. I would love to see what they were like beforehand. Or, like, if we don't get that, at the very least, I would like a second flashback where where we see even more of how the kingdom came to be, and, like, how they chose to bring everyone back. It is so fascinating. I mean, you thought there was sexual tension when Senku told Taiju, we are going to be the Adam and Eve of the Stone World, but you don't even know what tension there could be. I mean, also, Zeno feels like he would be very preachy, so I imagine his metaphor would be more like, we will be the first two amoebas of the Stone World because I hate God. That feels weird. I don't know what he would say specifically. I can't come up with a douchey enough thing that he would say. Anyways, I think that's enough. We did it. We got the tips to touch. We got the kidnapping to happen. We got all those different strokes. Yeah. And I could see this either taking 20 more chapters or 2 more chapters. Like, I would like it if they wrap things up quite a bit because, I mean, in terms of genre savviness, I think most of us know how this is going to end in terms of, like they're gonna, like, the two kingdoms are going to work together at some points. I don't think this is an arc that needs to be as drawn out as the island arc, especially because I do think actually a cool thing to do for the next phase of the arc could be like we're on your side, like we're willing to share some of this corn, but because we are a kingdom with our own desires and our own philosophies, like we are going to do X and Y, or we demand X or Y, or even we will build a ship and go colonize India or whatever, and while you do, set up another city. Like, I want to see more tension there. Up until now, even the island is kind of just like they are connected through blood to Ishigami Village, so it makes sense that they would be won over fairly easily. I would like Stanley and Zeno and the American Kingdom to be more difficult to work with. Yeah, that would be my ideal continuation from this point on. Like, I don't want it to be a let's fight over the fate of the world. I would want it to be a we're going to both help to fix the world. It makes more sense for us to even have a little competition there, but overall, even if we do have the broad strokes in mind, we still don't agree on everything, so there's still going to be problems. Like, we're going to have to deal with this, but not right now. Like, bringing back everyone on the world is the most important thing. I mean, that's also the thing, like, they have an actual, like, civilization here with so many people. I don't think they'd be cool with just jailing Zeno. Like, this also isn't a situation where Zeno is, like, an evil king or anything. I mean, he has dark plans, but everything he has done has been positive for the people he works under, and he hasn't really been lying about anything. I feel like it's gotta be more of a negotiating thing and less of a, like, punish Zeno situation. Anyways, that's all I've got to say for Dr. Stone. Uh, for the ranking, uh, I don't know if they want Xeno to rule the world, but at the very least, like they seem fine with the idea of building a new world with Dr. Xeno at the helm. Like Xeno does not seem like the kind of person who's been hiding his aspirations. I'll put it above me and Roboco. I think last week it was below, but this was good. It was no Undead Unluck, but good Dr. Stone. Now we have one more chapter of a thing to read. Let's move swiftly onto My Hero Academia, chapter 285. Interesting that they have the logo here, but not a title or anything. Yeah, he's going all out. I mean, Black Whip's definitely helping, but at the same time, I mean, there's only so much you can do with your arms before you start breaking them bones again. Yeah, as I said last week, my biggest fear is that Deku's going to have some sort of regeneration ability, but I have faith now that I feel like Horikoshi's not going to do it. Like, he wouldn't keep on bringing up this problem if he was going to cop it out. I feel like then he would want people to kind of forget about it for a while, and then just, slide in the idea of, oh, by the way, Deku can heal himself now. Plus, I do think this is, like, I firmly believe the epilogue of My Hero is going to be Deku, like, not Deku just finding another kid to pass all for one onto, or sorry, one for all onto, but rather, I do think it is going to be a, like he's already done it and he is losing his powers, or he may not even have any remnants of it at all. Like, I think it is going to be a firm, like, here is the next generation, I have retired. And I think a good way to do that would be to have Deku, like, ruin his body over the course of this, like, the most important part of My Hero's world history. Like, this point where, he expends so much of himself in order to save the world, and then he has to retire very early. Like, he gets to be a hero for his prime, like, up until his 30s maybe, and then he has to retire. I think that'd be fine. Like, it wouldn't be the perfect wish fulfillment that a lot of people want, but I think that would be a good, like, way to balance out the amount of damage he's been taking with also letting him have a hero career. Oh, right, I forgot to make it big. Whoops. Hot damn. Yeah, he's just going for it. I mean, yeah, fair enough. I mean, as you said last time, like, it is all or nothing right now. If he doesn't put down Shigaraki right now, he's not gonna have another time. Like, this is it. We don't even get to see them! It's just the big ol' smash! I mean, if this is not plus ultra, what is? And even if Deku can't visualize it, like, it is also a race against time until Shigaraki finds that one special quirk that's probably in there somewhere that allow him to get out of the situation. Like, I'm sure there's gotta be some sort of, like, shape-shifting quirk or, like, a turn into smoke quirk or something back there, like, something that wouldn't immediately spring to mind, but something that he does have in there that would allow him to get out of this predicament. And that is a cool note, that Deku's power is specifically there to crush Shigaraki's dreams. Yeah, I mean, this is something I've always been in awe at, like, professional, like, fighting game players for. Where you see, like, even if visually it looks extremely boring to juggle someone in the air, depending on the game, sometimes it is astoundingly difficult because the game is designed so that you can't juggle people. Like, that is something that the devs kept in mind. And so in order to do it, you do have to, like, hit exact frames in order to, to do what the devs really didn't want you to do. It is something that the universe itself is preventing you from doing, and yet you can do it anyways if you train hard enough. So, someone else has to come in. Like, Deku cannot have another Deus Ex Machina coming from him. Someone else has to step in. Okay. Alright, so it seems like a three-way combo. So, Todoroki keeps Endeavor cool. Bakugo is the rocket that launches them up there, and then presumably Endeavor will do his Flash Fire Inferno. I forget what it's actually called. But, his most powerful attack. Prominence Burn. Yes, thank you, homie. Ah, Rocklock, you poor fool. Now, does this work? Also, I am actually quite scared of what this is going to be like in the anime. I feel like Deku is going to be juggling Shigaraki for, like, 3 straight minutes while they talk about it and while we get pans. Like, not that the anime team is bad, but the Hasakai arc really made me worried about the future of the series. True, he could be doing it in the manga as well, but because of the way it's been written, it feels like like, from the moment he throws Shigaraki into the air, it feels like it's been maybe a minute or so, assuming the talking is a free action. Hey. I don't want to speculate and talk about things I'm not sure of. Okay. Even if one for all is a cursed power, at the same time, it's I mean, this is the classic Kamen Rider problem of, like, I'm using this ability, and it is the same ability as my hated enemy, as the main problem of the series. But even despite that, like, you can still be a hero, even if your power stems from something truly vile and hateful. Ah, okay, how is this going to work? I mean, we're building up so much that it doesn't have to be necessarily the narrative thing of it doesn't actually work out because we built it up so long. Like, this could also be a situation where it 100% works. But we're building up Bakugo's inferiority complex and the fact that, he's finally coming to terms with something. Like, where are we going with this narratively? Tomura, lend me your body. We've got the very angular lines that suggest all for one. Yeah, I mean, is this phase 2 of the boss battle? I mean, who else would be saying lend me your body? Oh, God. Oh my God, Shigaraki. Like, he is a corpse at that point. So cooked. And yeah, like, I don't, just to be clear, I don't think this is all for one himself, like, the guy who is physically in Tartarus, like, remotely controlling Shigaraki. I think this is, like, the last remnant of him within his quirk, which is now within Shigaraki. I think it's that is, taking over. It's that primal instinct now trying to attack the tiny fragment of his brother that's within Deku. At that moment, there were no thoughts. What is he doing? In my head, my body just moved on its own. Number 285, Katsuki Bakugo Rising. Oh my god. And yeah, I mean, at the moment, there were no thoughts in my head. My body just moved on its own. The classic line from the first chapter, they finally switched places. It's taken all this time. And the stakes have grown quite a bit, but he's finally repaying what Deku did. Jeez. I mean, now I get the Bakugo build-up. Now, I mean, part of it was, of course, that he was, finally coming to accept Deku. But, yeah, I could see it going either way, honestly. Like, I think it was, it is his soul, as always. I think most of the time when he's thinking about Deku, it is him slowly pushing himself to understand Deku and to understand why he hates him so much and how he can surpass him. And so I really do like that before that. Like, this isn't a logical thing of him building up the courage to save Deku. This is him thinking about Deku, thinking about all of it. And then, in the moment where, like, he is learning to accept Deku, but in the moment that he sees that Deku is about to die, like, all of that logic and rationality flees his mind, and he just moves. True. I mean, to be fair, we don't know. It seems like the Force Quirk activation tendrils just kind of do whatever. Like, All For One just kind of uses them whenever he wants to just use tentacle powers for some reason. I mean, I get why, as a mangaka, you would use them, because they look really dope. But yeah, if he wanted to, he could just detonate Bakugo. And even if he doesn't, I mean, that ain't a good time right there. Whew. The Rising chapters really, I mean, like, they are all big character moments, but there's really no connectivity of, like, oh, this is obviously what this chapter is going to be because I was spoiled that this chapter is whatever Rising. Like, if I knew what this chapter title was, it wouldn't have changed anything. Boy, yeah. I mean, I am worried for him, but I'm not as worried as I would be if Deku actually did get hit, because, Deku's out of Healy life juice energy forever. Like, he can't really be fixed much more than this. Whereas Bakugo's physically pretty fresh. Like, he's taken good care of himself. So, I mean, I'm still scared. It is still a, boy, this is extremely bad, especially because, because of everything happening, any medics that are around are going to be completely wiped out. They're way too busy. Even if someone's around, they may not have the ability to help Bakugo and also everyone else who's hurt at the same time. Yeah, I mean, the only thing we can hope for is that Shigaraki's actually down for the counts. Like, hopefully this really did fully crispify him. I mean, also, Genist is very impressive, but at the same time, I'm not sure how much he could do against, like, Gigantomachia or something. Oh yeah, I did forget that, yeah, like, Shiggy's also been very, like, power drainy as of late. So he could completely just steal it. But I mean, at the same time, you could also just make him crumble away and die completely. I feel like if if his body is not disintegrated, then he'll probably also just still have Squirk. It should be fine. I would say so. Like, from what we've seen of All for One, like it does seem like the forceful quirk activation tendrils do count as like touching All for One specifically. True, it's not his hands. I mean, Shigaraki doesn't need to use his hands though. Like he can disintegrate things with his feet as well. So I guess it is an open question as to whether the tendrils would also count, because that is that is so far removed from even like a part of his body. It is some other like part of his body that he is pulling into existence. So yeah, it might be okay. Yeah, fair point. I could definitely see Blackwolf fighting those tentacles in the future. Okay, well, that is my hero. I don't have a whole lot else to say about the chapter. I mean, good chapter, insane ending, and it is wild seeing Deku as like feral and monstrous as he is right now. Like I do think like I believe All Might was also described as being terrifying in his fight against All for One. Like, the one where he thought he put down All for One for good. So I could definitely see this as a hard parallel to that fight. Like, the hero of justice turning himself into an absolute monster, and because that's all he can do to match up against the ultimate evil. It is going to be an impossible to put down run. Like, if you're reading the whole thing as it comes out, like, it is going to feel like an absolute auto read. I can't imagine having more of this arc and not being able to, like, stopping myself from forcefully binging it. For quality, in the ranking, I mean, this might go above Chainsaw Man. Yeah, I'm gonna put it above Chainsaw Man, because I do think there was more excitement here. Chainsaw Man was extremely good, don't get me wrong. And I feel like they're on about the same tier. I do think My Hero is firmly above Undead Unluck this week, and so was Chainsaw Man, but I think the two of them are kind of on the same tier, give or take. I'll give My Hero the absolute win and the top of my rankings because it's been a while, and if any chapter as of late deserves it, this one definitely does. It is so exhilarating, so perfect. It is everything I want from the series. Absolutely amazing work. Anyways, that is My Hero. Let us move on to the author comments. I always say that before I get to the actual author comments, which is kind of a pain, because I usually like, syncing up the timestamp to when I say it. I guess I can just do it again. Author comments. I've mean to say that with the times being what they are, the original lead page arena idea was cancelled, but I forgot again last week. What? What? 9988! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Hajime Komoto, what are you doing? Also, is this really the second thing you read? Like, you pick up Jump because you're like, oh, I love Jujutsu Kaisen, it's on the cover, I'm gonna read this great chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, and then the next thing you read is Mashal. It's a hard flip. In Aya Try Volume 1, will blank be revealed? Should I respond to expectations? What could this mean? What is the blank? I assume it's something ecchi, but I guess it could also be like a big plot twist or something. Like, Kentaro is a pretty, like, not old guy, but, he's been around for quite a while, so I assume his daughter's also an adult. Ooh, Eiichiro Oda says, since the process has been adjusted because of COVID, we're trying for 3 chapters every 4 weeks or 2 chapters every 3 weeks. The goal is to reach chapter 1000 by the end of the year. Just gonna screen cap that real quick. Oh no, I put away my screen capping thing. Whatever, I'll remember it. It'll be fine. But yeah, I have been wondering, like, will One Piece get to chapter 1000 by the end of 2020 or not? Because of, like, also, it is cool to get official confirmation that they're trying to do 3 chapters every 4 weeks or 2 chapters every 3 weeks. Because, I mean, they've always been doing 3 chapters every 4 weeks. Like, Oda's been taking, 1 week every month off. But I guess now it's good to know that they're not going directly for 2 chapters every month, which is what I thought they were doing. I will definitely be drawing manga until the day I die, so it's okay for me to take today off. That's Boichi for ya. My other favorites are Kihira, Tsukutami, Uno, Kostornia, Dai, Nakano, Machida, etc. I assume these are names, right? Because of Uno, I assumed it might just be like games, but I don't recognize any of the others. When your leg hurts, you'll sound cool if you say, I'm having strange sensations in my right femoral region. Will you? Is that cool? Karaoke Eco is great. I highly recommend it. Fujimoto's been doing a lot of recommendations as of late. What is this? I mean, I think, Also, I guess, does he mean karaoke eco as in a thing, or does he mean doing karaoke of eco? Because that seems to be what's coming up. I got the cover. Okay. You know, I don't know if in my time reading the author comments, if I've ever seen anyone say, like, I get the cover and color pages next week. Cool. I mean, Undead Unluck has really badass art. Like, I think Yoshifumi Totsuka has really good art direction, so I'm excited to see what this cover's going to be. Especially with this arc. Like, there's so many cool things he could do on the cover. When planning to do remote drinking, it's much safer when you start by deciding the exact amount you plan to drink. Very responsible, Taishi. Thank you. I do love the new arc of his life. Like, he's gone from lots of domestic stuff, lots of kid stuff, to apparently he just does Zoom calls and people make him drink on Zoom calls and he can't stop. That's just where his life is now. It's hard to move your opponents. Not even throwing 100 fireballs works. I want to throw bombs. So, those are the author comments. In terms of ranking, can't say they're that great. I mean, much like last week, going right to the bottom, Our Blood Oath was better than the comments. I do think, like, legitimately, ranking the author comments does help me a lot as a sanity check. As a, like, if a series goes below the author comments, unless they are extremely good author comments, then should I really be reading that series? Should really be rethinking it, at the very least. I mean, that Oda comment was actually very useful. So that does bump it up, but it doesn't bump it above any of the manga running in Jump, which I think is also fine. Like, the author comments in Jump are integrated into the table of contents. So it really is, if I rank it above any series, that is me explicitly saying I would rather close the book, open it up again, and just read the read the table of contents again, as opposed to reading one of these chapters. Novo, I do believe someday, like, once the 4 hallmarks of the channel have all been canceled / they've finished in their own way, and Jump has a bunch of other stuff, there may be a day, someday, when author comments hits #1. We live in fear of that day, but it may come. And depending on how bloodthirsty the editorial staff is, it may come sooner than you think. Anyways, thank you all so very much for Weekly Shonen Jump this week. It was a fantastic time. It was also fairly short. The raw reaction right now, not counting the pre-recordeds, is 1 hour 42. With the pre-recordeds, it's going to be about 2 hours, but then that'll shrink down again. Yeah, feeling good. Having a good time. Thank you all so much for continuing to support the channel. No promises on anything else besides Shonen Jump coming out this week, but I'll try for something, hopefully. We'll see, fingers crossed. Love y'all. Bye for now. Nya nya. Oh yeah, Pep didn't make it.